This week we are going to take a look at page 24. As you know, we have done arpeggios for grade 1 and for grade 2. So the difference between a tonic triad and an arpeggio is that you write out the notes separately for an arpeggio. So you have the same notes for a tonic triad, except that you double the root at the top. The first note, the third note, the fifth note, and also the eighth note, which means the tonic is already doubled up. So in this exercise, all we have to do is write out the arpeggios using the rhythm pattern that's given to us. So make sure you write the key signatures and the time signatures. Alright, let's get started. So the first one is been given to us. It's a D major arpeggio going up then down. So you can see they have written out in the triplets. Let's take a look at page 25. We have a G minor going down then up. So you can first start by writing out the key signatures. So G minor key signature is B flat major. We already know how to find the relative major of a key is by counting 3 steps up from a minor, and then we can write out the notes using the same rhythm pattern that was given to us at the start. So just remember that even for minor arpeggios, you still need to write the relative major key signature and then start the notes, just like in a scale. So if it's a G minor, you will have the relative major, which is the B flat major. We are going down then up, so that means we are going reverse from G to D to B. Okay, so I'm done with this. Then you can go to the next one, which is the B flat major, going up then down. We have the same key signature. We can start on a lower B, B, D, and F. And the next one's F major. We have F, A, and C. So you want to start with a higher F and go reverse. F, C, A, F. Let's go to the next question. We have to label this 1 octave arpeggios on question number 2. You must take note of the key signature and also the starting or the last note of the arpeggio. Here the starting note is a G, so most probably your arpeggio will be a G major or a G minor. So if you have a G major key signature, you can think of it as a G major, but if the key signature is different, you want to find out if it's the minor. So in this case, you have a G major key signature, which is an F sharp. So G major arpeggio going up then down. The next one is, again, you can find out the same way. Let's do it together. So the starting note is a D, as you can see, and so this will be a D major or a D minor. So you can see there's a D major key signature also given, so it's obviously another D major. Then the next one, you have the starting note is a G, but your key signature is not a G major, it's a B flat major. So you have to find out if it's the relative major of G minor. So how do you do that? Just by counting 3 steps up from the key of G. See if you get to a B flat. Yes, we do get to a B flat, so it's the relative major. Next one's an F major. Take some time to figure these out. Double check your answers. And let's take a look at broken chords. In our next page, we are going to write broken chords for minors and majors, but this one's a little different. Let's take a look at the box here. given to us, and let's highlight it. A broken chord, like an arpeggio, is made by breaking up a chord. Sometimes you can find 1-octave arpeggios within larger broken chord patterns. Just remember, it's just a triad that keeps moving up from every note of the triad. So let's take an example for C major, C, E, G. We have 3 notes in the triad. So it's like you move up every single note starting from each note of the triad. So first pattern would be C, E, G, and the next pattern you'd start from the second note, E, G, C, and the next pattern you start from the third note, G, C, E. So you get all the inversions when you're writing a broken chord pattern. So you can see in this example given, this one's a G minor, so G, B, D, and then second one starting on the second note, and you go up the triad, B, D, G, third pattern starting on the third note, D, G, B, and the fourth pattern starting on the higher G again, G, B, D again, 1 octave higher. So let's take a look at the second question. Using quavers, write a broken chord using D minor tonic triad going up. Use patterns of 3 notes. Sometimes they might ask you to use patterns of 4 notes, so be careful and read the question and try to understand what they have asked you. Then last part, finish on the first D above the stave. So first of all, you need to find out which is the first D above the stave. We know our highest D in the stave is this note on the treble clef. So the first D above the stave would be 1 octave higher. So you want to count 8 notes up and find the last note first of all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will be 2 ledger lines up. We are going to end on this note. So now we can just complete the rest of the notes. So you have to find out what are the notes in the D minor triad. Let's write it down on the side. It's a D, F, and a A. So the starting note has been given to us. So this time you have to use quavers. So I'm going to color these notes. D, F, A, next pattern, F, A, D, next pattern, A, D, F, next pattern starts on D, again the higher D, D, F, A. Last one you're going to end up in this note that we found out. It's going to be the D above 2 ledger lines. It's the same note here, so I can erase this now. So now I'm going to draw my stems and then group them according to the time signature. I've double checked my answer. So then let's go to the next question, number 3. Again we have to write a broken chord pattern using quavers. Write a broken chord using G minor tonic triad. I want to underline this part, G minor, going up. Use patterns of 4 notes each time. Finish on the first G above the stave. First I'm going to find out my last note. That's going to be G above the stave. So the highest G I know is on the 4th space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's going to be 3 ledger lines up, and my note is going to be on the line here. G minor has G, B, and D. Start writing the notes. So when it comes to using patterns of 4 notes each time, you have to double the root again, just like an arpeggio. So I'm going to go from this G, G, B, D, and include another higher G for my pattern of 4 quavers. and each time I'm going to repeat those 4 notes. So this means that we are going to start a pattern on each of these 4 notes. So let's do the next pattern starting on B. Okay, B, D, G, B. The next pattern I'm going to start on D, D, G, B, and the next D. Let it line up. My next pattern, I'm going to go on until I reach my target note at the end. So it's very important to find out the last note. Then you have G, B, D on the higher octave. Okay, so now I have reached my target note. G, B, D and G. So now I can draw the stems and group them according to the time signature. So this one's 2/4 time. That means 2 crochet beats in a bar. So for each bar you can have a group of 4 quavers. Okay, so I'm done with this question. Let's move on to question number 4. Using triplet quavers, this time we have to use a triplet quavers. Write a broken chord using a B flat major tonic triad going up. Use patterns of 3 notes each time and finish on the first B flat above the stave. Just like in my previous question, I want to find out the last note. B flat above the stave would be this note. So my next step is to find out what are the 3 notes of the B flat major tonic triad. So we have a B, D and a F. Okay, so the key signature is already given. Now we can write out the notes. B, D, F. Next pattern starting on D, F, B. Next pattern starting on F, B, D. Last pattern includes D, F and a B. So now I found my target note. Let's draw the stems. Remember, these are triplets. So for the final parts, you have to check the time signature before you draw the bar lines. So this one's a 3/4 time. So you need to know how many triplets are there for each crochet. As you know, a triplet means 3 notes played in the time of 2. So you have to take this as 2 quavers. 2 quavers equal to 1 crochet. So you will have 3 triplets for each bar. Now you can see on the last bar, we have only 2 groups of triplets. So for the last beat, you can just write a crochet rest. Okay, so now it's completed. Let's move on to the next question. So next one is using minims. Write a broken chord using the B minor tonic triad going down. Use patterns of 3 notes each time and finish on the B below the stave. So this time we are going down in the reverse order. So make sure you write the letter names if you keep getting confused. Just write them out. There's no harm in it. B, D, F. All you have to do is organize your question so you can avoid any careless mistakes. When it comes to broken chords that are going down, the best way you can start is from the finishing note. That is the B below the stave. So I'm going to find that first. This is my B below the stave. So you know how I found it. I just counted 8 steps down from the lowest B that I know. An octave down is the B below the stave. There are no other B's in between. Just remember. Okay, so I'm going to start with B, D and F. So this way I can avoid a lot of careless mistakes and confusions along the way. So this is B, D, F, D, F, B. The next pattern starts on F. Last pattern starts on D. going up to F to B. Got all my notes. So now all I have to do is write the stems for the minims. My time signature is 3 minim beats in a bar. Okay, take a look at question number 6. Using quavers, write a broken chord using D major tonic triad. Use patterns of 3 notes each time. Finish on the F sharp in the first space. Now this time the D major tonic triad is not going to end on the tonic. It's going to end on the second note. So we have D, F and A in your D major tonic triad. So just remember the F sharp and the C sharp is already given in our key signature, so we don't need to write any more accidentals. So just because they say it's an F sharp you have to end on, you just need to write an F because the key signature is already given. So it's going to end on F, the middle note. What you have to do in this case is build the tonic triad on F. After F comes A. After A, we are going back to D. So let me color these notes because we need to write them as quavers. Okay, so now you can see your time signature is a 6/8 time. So you will have 6 quavers on every bar. So you can have 2 groups of quaver notes for each bar. Let's move on to the last question. Using quavers, write a broken chord using E minor tonic triad going down. Use patterns of 3 notes each time. Finish on the first E below the stave. First E below the stave would be on this first ledger line down here. Now let's find out what are the notes. For the E minor triad we have E, G and B. So let's write the notes from backwards. If you want, you can double check and see if you have ended on the correct note. So this one's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it's an E here. And you have ended on the last pattern, G, B and E. Okay, so it's correct. So now all I have to do is make them quavers. You can finish up to page 26 and send your answers. I will see you next time.